We got our 2000 model Dodge Cummins tranny out, and we got it on the bench. So I pulled it. I'm going to build it. Excuse me, I'm going to tear it down. I'm going to build it, and I'm going to put it back in. So it didn't move very good when we pulled it in. Leaking fluid out the front. In my other video I was showing you, had a bunch of fluid under the bell housing and stuff like that. It looks like it's been rebuilt before. It's been painted nice and silver at one time. It does have a black torque converter in it that's kind of been painted. You can kind of see here it's not a very good paint job at all. I think it's just a stock torque converter that they pulled out and painted and put back in. The torque converter's got a really bad rut where the bushing's been rubbing. I haven't got the flywheel off of it yet to see if the flywheel is bad. But 90% of these we pull out, the flywheel's no good. And we always go back with a billet flywheel because we can get a billet flywheel cheaper than we can get a factory Cummins. So, just got the standard 47 RE, no ring here like the 48s or anything like that to keep converter drain back. No billet shafts or anything like that. So, get this shifter linkage and stuff off really quick. Everything was hooked up good underneath. Had a few bolts missing in the cross member, and had a bunch of bolts that didn't belong in the cross member that were really too small, and really wasn't a hard enough bolt to even be in there. So we'll get this TV linkage off really quick. We'll get our shifter linkage off. You can see here the computer connector plug here, there's no fluid in it. Got an 8-way connector. Now this is your park reverse neutral safety switch. These also leak fluid too, can cause your backup lights to come on erratically, not wanting to start, all that type of stuff. So always replace these too. Now you remember this thing had a leak coming out of the shifter. It was dripping off when I was unloosening it right here. It had a big drip off right here. Well, if you look here, the seals plumb out of the case. I can probably just grab that and pop it out. So you can tell it's been rubbing on the bottom here too real bad. See that? Like how it was trying to come out.
Yep. That's the only thing keeping it from
coming
that is.
Out. Yeah. That's why we got a big leak. The seal is actually above the place right here. See that? Can you zoom into that, Trent? See how that seal?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
See, the seal's actually above that notch. So it'll never seal.
Correct.
I mean, I'll just kind of tap it down in there. I can't get it out, but nope, they just didn't put it in. It's solid.
Huh.
That's solid. They just put it in that way.
Wow.
So here we go, guys. One of them ones has been built before that we always run into problems. But here we got our Milwaukee Impact, guys. I'm going to use it again. We took out this whole tranny with it. Still on full power. We're going to tear this tranny down. We're going to build it with it. And we're going to install it back with it too without charging it and see just how good these batteries are and how good this thing is. So it works really nice. Get my tires over here. Now remember, I'm using a 6-inch extension with this, which normally makes an impact weaker. It didn't phase this thing at all. I mean, this thing, even with that long extension on there, worked perfect. And when I took my bell housing bolts out, I had an extension about that long on it, and it still zipped my bell housing bolts right out of the bell housing right there to take the tranny off. So, got our output speed sensor right here. I'm going to go over here and grab this other battery too real quick. And back here. Now what was good about this too is when I pulled this tranny out, this battery here worked really good until I got to take my torque converter bolts out. I had to switch to this battery here, which opened up the end of it really nice, and I could get up here and just pull my torque converter bolts and stuff like that out too. So works really good, guys. If you ever put one in your hand, you can really feel how hard it hits. Can you? Which trick? You can probably hear it. How hard it hits. Now, okay, guys, here we go. Now, this is a reason why people don't need to mess with this stuff, because they don't realize just by leaving the gasket out in between here and using just silicone, you messed your clearances up. Now, if you didn't compromise for that gasket, get this out of there. There we go. Your clearances are messed up. There's no gasket here on both sides. They just put some silicone on here, and when you do that, you have to compromise for clearances in here. You just can't leave the gasket out, because the gasket could be 15 thousandths, 10 thousandths. You know, I've never mic'd it to see what it is. I don't leave it out. I do all my adjustments with all my gaskets in, so I would say that's a no-no. So I'm gonna move this over, kind of get into a little bit more detail with this. Now, being that this is a Cummins 2-wheel drive, it's just got 4 clutches in the overdrive section. Now we're gonna go ahead and this plate right here, we're gonna throw it away. We're gonna go get me 2 more steels, or excuse me, 1 more clutch and steel, and we're gonna stack it back up. So basically, I'm gonna put all this back in there just like this, and then I'm gonna go grab me another steel. I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna grab another clutch, put it there, and then I'm gonna grab another steel and put it here. Now I just added 1 more clutch into overdrive in this training that it didn't have. How simple is that? Get rid of this plate. Add another clutch and steel. You got an extra clutch in your overdrive. Real simple, guys. So that's a must to do. I mean, these diesels make so much torque that you really got to help them out a little bit. Get this back and pull this out. Now we should have 2 snap rings. We should have a flat snap ring and a wavy snap ring. Now if I wanted to get crazy, I could even come in here and I could, they make a special plate where it's been machined down right here, where you can remove this wavy snap ring, set the plate down farther, and even add more clutches. So instead of 4, 5, you could get 6 in here, like the 48 REs. See, so pretty easy to do too. But 1 clutch, guys, makes a big difference. A big difference. Now, I get a lot of guys, I want to show you something too. We do a lot of these housings that crack right through here. Not so much on the 2-wheel drives, but on all the 4-wheel drives. Drive shaft issues, they always crack right through here. When you get in here and you start swapping a gas housing to a diesel housing, the parking mechanism is different. The truck is twice as heavy. It takes a wider parking lever, a bigger pin. Everything in here is totally different. Well, I had one come in here a while back. They took and stuck a small pin in this board with a small anchor, and it would just rattle like crazy and park. It would sit here and just wobble because the pin didn't even match the case. So diesel with diesel, gas with gas. Look at it really close when you start swapping that stuff out, because of the weight difference and the angle of them gears and where it locks and stuff is totally different. If you put a gas one in a diesel, you cannot pull it out of park on a hill. I don't care what you do. I got one. I know. You can't pull it out. So that's a big no-no. Just remember that. Stick this over here for right now. Now we have our direct clutch in here, our overdrive planetary assembly, stuff like that down in here. The killer spring I always talk about.
Big old party down in there.
Yeah, there's you always want to check this bearing right here. It might roll smooth this bait when you pick up on it and pull back on it and spin it. There's so much load on this bearing going this direction that it wears back towards the back side of it. It doesn't wear like a normal bearing does. So you might roll it this way and be smooth. You pick it up, it'll be rough because it pushes the bearing backwards. So you got to watch for that. There's a lot of things you got to watch on these diesels. 47, 48s, all of them. The thickness of this right here, this spacer right here, sets clutch clearance. your stuff right through here. It sets this clearance and it sets this clearance for this clutch here. So the new seals that we get in our kits will have longer lips on the seals. These are really short lip seals right here. They get hard wear. The tranny expands, the seal won't expand with it, and we start getting leaks on the outer edges and stuff like that. That's why the aftermarket made that seal a little bit longer to reach when the tranny expands. So we get these are 3/8 bolts right here. Get our support out for our overdrive piston and our rear case support. Now you notice right here too we have another spacer right here. That is selective. That's another place right there where we set clearances and stuff on this tranny. You always want to look for where your overdrive bushing runs right here for your sun gear. Here too. Remember, that could look bad. Scotch-Brite is your friend. Make that shaft look brand new, just as long as there ain't no rutting or anything like that. Always use Scotch-Brite, guys. That's the number one thing about these trannies. Now they just serviced this, so there's really nothing in the pan for us to look at. So it just, you know, it's pouring out the front seal and stuff like that. We'll get in there and see what we can see there. Now just it has a stock filter on it. We always upgrade the filter to a high flow filter. Get that off of there. We just don't like these. We like always putting a deep pan on these too. Just keeps a filter from recycling because they suck off the bottom. I hope all you guys get one of these for Christmas. Because I'm telling you, I took them wheels off that 3/4 ton truck the other day with that thing. I was really impressed there, let me tell you. And it hasn't let me down yet, put it that way. We got your governor pressure sensor and your sensor here and your solenoid here. Your overdrive and your lockup solenoids here and your temp sensor down in here. Now this just has a factory manual valve. We'll be updating that to try to keep the converter drain back down on these things. Plus we're putting a Transgo kit in it. Those things just work really, really good. I hope Transgo don't mind me showing you this, but these things right here, guys, and these diesels, these things work. I put one in every one I use. Every one I use. I mean, as long as these guys been making this, I've been using it. So, and they update them when they need to update them. I mean, these guys are great, let me tell you. So, and it's just not the diesels we use them in. We use them in our gas. We use them in our 700s. They work really good in the 700s because the TV issue a 700 tranny has. Y'all don't know this, but man, a 700 is probably one of the worst trannies when it comes to TV pressure at max throttle, especially when you have it on the floor. So, I'm going to tear this valve body down in a second too. I want this video to be pretty good. Give y'all a little bit of time to enjoy it. Let's get in here. We got our second gear band right here. I've already took the anchors off and stuff. We have a reverse band here. So a big old wide band. The earlier band was just a single band, little tiny thing. It held up for a little while, but you could overpower it with a programmer or something like that. So. And it was in reverse. So these things have a really weird gear ratio from forward to reverse. So if you put a really low stall on one in a Dodge, they won't want to back up because the gear ratio is so much taller. So Like I say, this thing's all painted up nice and pretty. I don't know what it's gonna look like on the inside. I'm kind of curious. We get a lot of people that try to build stuff and just don't have even the parts we have here. You know, we put complete bushing kits in these. We don't put one bushing here, one bushing there. It gets the whole deal. So we got a gasket that's nice and soft. We just got the stock stainless rings. Now the gasoline kits will come with a steel ring. It'll be a black ring, I believe. And then the stainless ring is kind of a shiny looking stainless color. Well, our Transgo kit's going to come with high pressure blue rings that we put in every one we do. Not all Transgo kits come with those rings. Now, I did have a customer get back a hold of me telling me where he found them, where I didn't have to buy them individually or buy a kit to get them. Because once you buy the shift kit's for a lifetime, but the rings are not. So you get in here, you see the bluing's gone on here. I mean, just the bluing. There is nowhere, you can't feel nothing. I mean, it feels really good. So anytime you change these out, you want to always put a new bushing in here. That way it doesn't rub in the center right here on your input shaft down in here. Because if not, it'll happen. You can see where them rings rub right down in there. And that hole right there is a feed for the forward clutch. So. Excuse me, I lied. These two rings right down here for lockup. This ring right through here is for your forward clutch. Excuse me. Got that. Straighten that up really quick before we got too far behind in that.
Yes, sir.
So I can grab my screwdriver really quick. And we get in here. You always want to look at your pump gears and body. Now you notice right here, when I took this out, this gear come out like this. You know how this is ramped? This is shanked. It's got a kind of a square cut to it. Truthfully, guys, you put that in that way, it physically goes like that. Seriously. I mean, I've had a lot of people doubt me on which direction this goes. You can put it either way, it doesn't matter. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to put some oil in between here and this to keep oil through here is what they're trying to do. They're trying to capture oil through there. This isn't for stabbing the converter. This is for to capture oil and keep it maintained in this area. Okay, a lot of people didn't know that, but if you go to transmission seminars, back a long time ago, they'll tell you that stuff. That's how we learn our stuff. I mean, I've been going to tranny seminars for years and years and years. I learned so much through there. That's why I got so many manuals. You can't even get manuals hardly no more. You know, they want you to download them off the computer and stuff. Well, I've got some of the oldest manuals they've ever made in there. So here we got our high gear clutch. Now this is an aftermarket clutch here. You can tell it's already cooked up. Got really hot spots on the steels. Now it does have a 48 RE style drum. It's got the high drum, 47. The ring's high so we can get the max amount of clutches in here. But we're going to add one more. We're going to add 5. So we'll be getting rid of this plate. We'll be stacking these back down in here. I'll show you really quick how I do that. In one of my other videos I show people how to do it. We're going to set that alone for just a second. I'm going to leave this right here. We're going to go over to the forward clutch. We're going to look at this really quick. Now you see your forward clutch, it's just got a stock paper clutch. It's a 4 clutch, you don't need to add any more clutches here. You can if you're 2,000 foot-pounds of torque, we could add another clutch in if we want to, but we've never seen an issue unless we do something crazy like that. But, let me show you this. We're going to set this aside, we're going to come over here to our 3rd gear drum, and we're going to take this thick one, and we're going to set it aside. Now we're going to come in here. We're going to take and put another steel. We're going to lay another clutch. We're going to take this plate right here. We're going to drop it down in there just like that. Now if you notice, this snap ring will not go down in there no more. It will not go down in there. But what we do is, I'm going to grab another snap ring. What I like to do is I like to grab a 350K snap ring, 700 4L60E K snap ring will fit right in here perfect. The thickness of the ring is perfect. Everything about it's perfect. Take and stick that down in there just like that. Now you just added another clutch. Really simple. Now, in one of my other videos, I talked about grinding this down. Right here. So go back to it to verify a little bit more information about doing that, okay? Because I did show air checking the drum on the bench over there. How, when you put it together, you air check it. That way this drum doesn't lift up on this drum. So always go back and watch multiple of my videos to get the facts on a lot of this stuff that I'm showing you guys, because one of them ain't going to cut it. Because I'm showing you so much stuff that you won't pick it up. There we got our forward clutch hub or drum shaft, piston. I don't even know what we would call that anymore. Clutch retainer. I've never named it yet. Your bevel spring right here. Your wave snap ring. Your plastic spacer. They do make a metal one if you can find it in the real earlies. I've talked about that. Now, this is the billet input or drum that we always talk about, changing billet. I've got a few of them over here that's probably broken.
Hey, no, they're over here.
Are they over there? Yeah. I was going to try to find the pieces, but you can kind of see if they splinter like this, they usually destroy the converter. If they break this twist right off, they don't destroy the converter. But a lot of times this is what happens. Now, when we do a multi-clutch converter or something like that, we have to put a billet one in there because it locks up so much firmer that it'll break this input shaft, and then we destroy a billet converter. So we will not put a stock input shaft behind a billet converter. It just don't work. So now they did put a better band in it, which is like a 3-speed 727. See if it says it on it, to 727. That there, guys, 3-speed transmission band. That's what we put in all of them too, because the material, there's so much more on the band and stuff like that. So that was an upgrade. Now here we go. Here's another place where we can shim this tranny on the end plate and stuff like that. They make 3 different thicknesses of this right here. That's why it takes so long to set this unit up right here. Now this does have a 5-pinion steel planted in the front. Never put aluminum on a diesel. It won't last 5 minutes. It don't matter. If you do it, you'll figure it out.
I like that.
Yeah.
If you do it, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
He's not lying.
Yeah, it's got scared.
That's
how it got scared.
That was a good one.
Them Mac tool hammers just scare him to death. This shaft looks really nice. Take and just Scotch-Brite this thing up really good. So you want, always use Scotch-Brite on all your surfaces. Now we're going to get in here on this one here. Being that this is the early one, it doesn't have a washer for the Planet like this. See, normally we'd have a washer, and then you put something on here like this, and then you have another washer, like right here. There's always a washer in between something. Well, on the early designs, they didn't have no washer. The Planet was the washer, and they just had it run against this here. See? Well, as it wears, the Planet wears, and next thing you know, you're touching your pins, all your in-play goes away, and all that type of stuff, see? So that's what happens. When they went to the 48s, they went to big old wide washers, steel Planet, got away from all that type of stuff, so Planet's pretty much no good. pretty much wiped out. So, of course, we have your sun gear. You want to look anywhere for any pitting on both sides of the gears. Most of the time, we replace every one of these. I mean, it's pretty much mandatory. I got everything over there to do it already. So, same way here. Brush washer. You want to check your forward planet for any type of wear, pitting, wobbling gears, anything like that. So, get down here and get this out really quick. Where'd it go? Ain't happening with that one. Too wide. So, our bushing kit, our new bushing kit and washer kit will come with a stainless washer right here instead of plastic. It only goes on one direction. This will go on either, but the washer, the brass goes towards this hub, not the snap ring. So you'll see that. You always want to look in here for wear. Any oil, any trash coming out of your torque converter, cooling system goes right here, right on top of this right here, and there's no bearing. Get this support out right here. Now this is an aftermarket support. It's got a seal right here. I can't move it, but it seals it to the back. That way it keeps all the oil up here on this support. Like that, see? They even have a hole here that sprays it in there. See, on both sides. Now we do enlarge that hole just a tiny bit to get more oil on this surface right here. But just remember, anything coming out of the converter, your cooling system goes right here and wipes this out really quick. So both these pieces have to be replaced. You got your big old reverse band. You can see pitting, it's starting to fall apart here though.
Oh, yeah.
See it?
Mm-hmm.
All the way through here. I mean, it's coming to replace it, guys. Don't be cheap, just get rid of it. I mean, customers pay for that stuff. They don't mind. Get your sprag assembly. Just remember, your rollers always go uphill, or your springs push your rollers uphill. So, got your reverse servo, your intermediate servo here. You always want to check these for any type of wear. These are bad about breaking, cracking the piston. This will start wobbling and causing a leak through here and causing reverse slippage, delays, and all kinds of stuff. And then you have your intermediate one. Might splash me. Not too bad. Now this is a metal ring here. The new shift kit that we're putting in here will actually have Teflon rings through here instead of metal. That way they blow out and seal a lot better under pressure. So, Trent, did you want to do that valve body, or you want to do it in another video, son? I know we're busy.
Yeah, this is 30 minutes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to do another video on this 47 valve body and kind of give you an idea of what we do with it. And so we got a lot of things going on. Y'all subscribe. Wait, hang on for the new show. Kind of tired and out of breath. Been busy. But I'm going to get this built today and try to get back in tomorrow. So there'll be another video on that too. So y'all stay tuned. Have a great day.